Hey guys, it's Asio. So in this part of the series, we're going to be going over throwing, and I think throwing is probably one of the more overlooked things when a new player gets into Street Fighter. I think new players tend to just focus on special moves, uppercuts, tatsus, like all those fancy things, right? But throwing is probably one of the most easiest things you can do and incorporate into your arsenal, and it actually does decent damage and good stun. So let's get into it. I think everyone knows how to throw, and it's basically inputting light punch and light kick together. And the first thing you need to do is get into training mode and learn the distance or the maximum range of your throw, right? It's a lot further than you think, closer than you think. You really have to be in the person's face in order to get the throw. So once you get this, and you get this down and you have the feeling for it, then you could try to incorporate that into your game. And now there's two different types of throws, right? So by default, Ryu will always throw your opponent forward, right? So if you just input your throw buttons, it'll actually throw the person forward. If you want to throw a person back, all you got to do is hold back and input your throw buttons again. So, which is light punch and light kick. So that's how you throw someone back. Now, you gotta be careful, or not be careful, but you gotta use your throws correctly, guys, right? So if you have Ken in a corner already, what you want to do is make sure you keep him there. So you always want to make sure, so in this case, if I'm gonna throw Ken, I want to throw him forward. So I keep him in the corner. What I don't want to do is I don't want to throw him back, so I put myself in the corner. That's what you don't want to do, right? And to that point, if I'm in the corner, what I can do is I could actually put Ken in the corner, right, by throwing him back. So you got to make sure you use your throws wisely. You don't just throw people when you want to throw them. You got to make sure you're picking the correct throw for the situation. So now that we got that out of the way, so let's restart this here. Let's get Ken blocking. So block. Ken is going to guard every single time and say he's going to be crouching. So say we got a super defensive player here. He's super defensive. It doesn't matter what we do. We can't get in. We can't. It's just like, well, the one thing that does beat this is a throw. So throw always beats block every single time, right? So if you have someone that's super defensive, make sure you walk up and you throw them, right? You doing this isn't going to do anything, right? You got to make sure you walk up and throw. So I just wanted to point that out there, how strong a throw is. So if you have a very defensive opponent, make sure you just go up to them and you throw them, right? So let's get Ken not guarding anymore. Let's get him doing some stuff here and restart. So what Ken's going to do now is he's going to throw us. So say we have an opponent that likes to throw us. What can we do to combat that? Well, there's two things. First thing is you can randomly just match jab, and hopefully one of these jabs will land and a counter hit. And so let's try it. So we're gonna, and again, this is not reliable, but this is a way to do it. So I'm gonna trip Ken, and he's gonna try to throw me. And sure enough, my jabs did not land. So let's do this a couple of times, and I'll probably get a counter hit in here somewhere. Still didn't get it. Let's see how lucky I get now. There you go. So I got a counter hit. So that is a way of doing it, guys. It's not the most reliable way. I don't recommend it. So if you have an opponent that's constantly putting pressure on you, constantly throwing you, you can try to jab out of it. Basically, what's happening here, I'll try to explain it, is as Ken's throwing, your jab is going to interrupt his throw. Now, if Ken's throw is coming out while your jab is starting to come out, the startup of your jab, he's actually going to get the throw. So it's really the timing of Ken getting up and you actually landing the jab before he actually grabs you, right? So this is why there's kind of a random element. It's a super tight timing window. So again, not highly recommended, but if you're in a situation, you can try to jab out of it. The best way to do it is teching the throw, or throw escape in this game it's called. So the way to do that is you want to input your throw the same time as Ken tries to throw you or your opponent, right? So let's try it here. So I'm going to trip Ken, and I'm going to try to throw him at the same time, and you get a throw escape essentially, right? So you could go into training and practice this. All you got to do is go to the dummy, go to the record settings, and just get Ken to throw, and just have him do what I'm doing right now. Where I trip him, and then he tries to throw me, and time it. So the timing is very crucial. It's not the easiest thing. All right. So as you seen, I missed there, but there is timing to it. So in the game, you'll see this happen, right? Sometimes when you go try to throw an opponent, your opponent will just try to throw you, and the throws will get teched. It's not that you guys are trying to tech each other. It's just sometimes it'll happen. Sometimes you are going to try to tech your opponent because your opponent's constantly trying to throw you, right? So that's basically how you attack an opponent. Now let's get into tips on throwing. So let's get Ken to stand, and he'll be, let's say, blocking. Yeah, he's going to guard everything. And let's restart it. And let's turn off his wake up action here. All right, so now he's not gonna throw us anymore. All right, so for the tips, what we can do here is I'm gonna show you one of the tips that I like to use a lot, and it really works really well. And the reason why is because, here, let me explain to you. So one of the best tips I have is you just do a jump in kick and a throw. Now, the reason why this works is because most players have a tendency to suspect that there's a combo like this coming. So they're going to block high, block low, and try to block all of your attacks, right? What they don't always suspect is that you're just going to walk up to them and throw them after a kick. So this is probably the biggest tip. New players will not look for this. Maybe after some time, after you do it 1 or 2 times against them, they may try to combat it with a jab, a punch, or even throw you back to tech it, or whatever the case is, right? But this alone is going to add more versatility to your game. You'll have more options. Instead of you just constantly just jumping in, doing, whatever basic combo that you do, right? Now you have this added thing that your opponent has to try to think of, how are they going to counter that, right? The next tip is going to be, it's called a tick throw. So adding to a jump in throw, you can actually do a jump in, tick, and then do a throw. And what happens here is when you tick with a jab or a light kick, whatever the case is, right? They're in like a block state. They are trying to block you for whatever, just to make sure that you don't get an attack in. So it's even harder for them to suspect that they are going to throw. So, but newer players or more advanced players will see the tick, walk up, throw. They'll see that walk up and they'll, I'm actually trying to tech you. But if you're new, and you're facing newer players, they won't suspect this. So you can definitely exploit this and add this to your game, and you'll see that just tick throws are just really good. You'll get the throws a lot of the time, 90% of the time, I would say. And the last tip, guys, is going to be a dash in throw. So if you're in about this range here, right here, you can actually just dash in and throw, right? And that is a pretty strong tactic. They're not gonna, and you again practice the range of it, guys. Your opponent's not gonna be ready for the throw when you dash in. They're either gonna, by normal reaction, just try to block whatever's trying to come in. But you can actually just grab them and throw them, right? You can even go double dash into a throw, right? When newer players see, or even just players in general, see someone coming at them, their natural tendencies is to block, or maybe even throw out a punch, depending, right? But this is a really good tactic, right? You can force pressure on them and throw them, right? So that's pretty much it, guys. Those are the 3 tips there. Add that to your game. Learn how to throw and incorporate it into your game. Make it like a good part of your arsenal that you can put pressure on your opponent, and just it's just another way to do damage, guys, and essentially secure the win. So hopefully that helped you out. Anyways, guys, so that's pretty much it for the video. If you like the video, drop a like. That really helps me. Any questions or comments, please put it down below. I definitely read them. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Have a good one, guys. Take it easy.